Then let's go to Python conditions. For you to use the if statement, so there are certain conditions you need to know about in Python. So if I put conditions, so if I change this to markdown, so there's the equals to that you need to know. Equals, where you use your double equals to. So you want to check, is this equals to something? Is A equals to Y? Does this? So use the double equals to. There is the not equals to. So you're using your exclamation and equals to sign. Yeah, as we go along, you understand what this means. Yeah, then you have the normal greater than, using your greater than sign. You have less than, using the less than. Then we have the greater than or equals to, less than or equals to. So these are some things you just have to put at the back of your mind as we go forward. So now let's start with if statements. So to write an if statement, you put in your if, you put in the condition you want to give, then you use your column. So if I do if condition, right, then I put my column, come down, you see that there's an indentation, then do something. So whatever you want to do, you do it under. So let's give an example. So if you say x equals to, let's make it 400 and y is equals to 50, right? So let's run this. So I want to say if something, if x is less than, let's say if x is greater than 400, or let's make it 300, print x. So it's like if this is greater than this, do something. So if I print, definitely x is greater than 300, it's going to print the value of x. So I can say if x less than 400, print x. Nothing is print because x is not less than 400. But if I do something like this, if x is less than or equals to 400, print x, you see that this time it prints because you're saying because x is equals to 400, x is not less than 400. So this is how you use if statements. I will say, or if I say if, let me say y, if y not equals to, if y is not equals to, I will make this 5, let me make this 50, make this 50. So if y is not equals to 50, print y. Let's say if y is not equals to, let's put 100. If y is not equals to x, let's use this, print y. So now look, if this is true, it will print y. So definitely y is not equals to 50, it's going to print y. But if I say if this is equals to, for example, it won't print anything because y is not equals to 50, it's equals to x. Yeah, so that's how you do if condition. There's also what we call if, elif, and else statement. So if I have if, for example, I want to put in multiple conditions. So if I, for example, I say if y is greater than 100, print, or let's not even print self, x, let's say z now will be equals to y times 100. So it's not only print you do, you could carry out operations using this y times x. Let's do that. Then say print z. Elif. Now, so elif is trying to, if this is not true, you could use elif. Maybe it's another condition. Elif, if y is less than, let's say if y is less than 100, let z be equals to y plus x. You could also do another elif, or you could do else. So when you're doing your if statement, it starts with if and ends with else. So else is like finally, if none of this condition is met, do something. You say print. So there's always a column, then you could do print or whatever you want to do. In this case, I want to print no condition met in this case. So what this does is, I go through this is why, if y is greater than 100, this will be done, and this whole if statement would end. But if you look, if y is not greater than 100, it comes to the next elif. Is y less than 100? Then it carries out. If that's correct, if then this will print said. So it does this, right? Else just print. So if none of this condition is met, just do the last thing regardless of whatever you have. So by the time I do this, it's going to print. So what does it print? It prints it because y is less than 100. So it's just, so you could have multiple elifs in the statement, elif up to, but you can only have one if and one else in your statement, in your if statement. Also, you could have multiple conditions inside your if statement. Could be, you could have or and. So with and statement, for example, if I say if y is this and this is this, do this. So for example, let me try if y is greater than 10, and let me use or first, or y or x, let me do, or x is x times y, for example. So what this does is, it looks, if one of these conditions has to be true for this to return. So if both of them are true, that's fine. But if there's only one that is true, so in this case, we know that our y is 50, definitely y is less than 10, y is greater than 10. But as x is not less than 200, so let's see what this will return. So it does that. If let's use and, for example, for and, both of them must be true for anything to work. So if I use and here, what does it? It doesn't print anything because both of them must be true if you are using and. No, the elif is not an opposite of the first if, is a second condition you are given. So what it does is, the first condition is not met, it tries the second condition. So your elif has to be the same code block with your if, and you should have this column at the end of your elif.